He's Manchester United. He's the Yankees of Sports Emmys. He's Bob Costas, who once again, shockingly, won it again last night. Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you for mentioning me in your speech as well.
I did.
I know you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And last year you accepted for me.
I know.
I'm doing everything I can to make you part of the evening, Dan. Can't you see that?
How about you take a year off, Bob?
No matter what I say, it's not going to sound right. I'm really torn. I swear. Half of me is saying, as I'm sitting there, it'd be really nice if Dan won, or Ernie, or Rich Eisen. JB has won before. Ernie has won before. I mean, they're all deserving, and everyone does different things. Like I said last night, I could not do your job as well as you do. I could not do Ernie's exact job as well as he does. Could I do it? Sure, just like you could do my job. We all could do each other's jobs, and we'd all do it well because we're all pretty good at what we do. But none of us would do the other guy's job quite as well as he does. And to that extent, it's apples and oranges, and everybody knows that.
Well, why do you think you stand out?
I think maybe what I do, in certain moments during the course of the year, is different from what other broadcasters do. Maybe the journalistic part and some of the interview parts is different. Maybe, I don't know.
If you took me away from this show, then you have the Danettes. If we took you away from the Olympics, you still have me and Al. So, I mean, let's just do the MVP type thing if we're changing teams here. I mean, shouldn't I be most valuable? Look at what I work with, Bob.
You're right. You're carrying a fairly weak lineup.
Isn't
right.
this
basically you are Jordan, and you got a bunch of Bill Wenningtons around you.
I was going to go the Dodgers of 1988.
Yeah, you're Kirk Gibson.
Yeah. Well, no, maybe Oral Hershiser.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever missed a moment in sports? I mentioned that, people, the Rooneys, one of the Rooneys, they were going down the elevator with the Immaculate Reception. But have you ever missed a moment by doing something or at a game and you missed it somehow?
Not exactly missed it, but when I was doing the Super Bowl in Miami between the Bengals and the 49ers, the one where Montana led the 92-yard drive, and supposedly, I did see him, there's no question he was there, John Candy was standing at the back of the end zone toward which they were driving, and cool as could be, Montana in the huddle said, "Hey, look, John Candy on the other end of the field." And supposedly he was like, "Hey, we want to meet him. We got to go down there." So who could be cooler than that? But anyway, they had sent me down as that drive began. They sent me down to the Bengals locker room. So now I'm in the Bengals locker room to do the supposed postgame. But now they're driving closer and closer, and I got a feeling. So I sort of go in the hallway, halfway between the two. And I can hear Dick Enberg's broadcast in my ear, but I can't see the field with my naked eye, and I have no monitor. But I hear Montana, Taylor, touchdown. And at that point, I figure, even though they had run one back earlier for a TD, they're not going to run the kickoff back. So I'm going to the San Francisco locker room. And when I got there, they all came pouring through. So I never saw the winning play.
He's Bob Costas, NBC Sports, Major League Baseball Network, joining us. Dan Patrick Show. What sporting event haven't you worked that you want to?
Well, when you asked me that last time, one that any broadcaster would say is on the bucket list, not because I could lend anything to it, really, is the Masters, because it's such a glorious setting. We talked about that in a different way the last time. I think any broadcaster would want to put a check mark next to that. Same way, even though I'm not a horse racing expert, I'm glad that I've gotten a chance to do some Kentucky Derbies because it's such an iconic thing. But there's no way, even controversies aside, that anyone would need me at the Masters. I mean, Nance is the absolutely superb host. I mean, he's perfect at it. There's no one that does any assignment in sportscasting any better than he handles the Masters. He has complete command of the history of it, of all the big stories, the little stories, the tone. Everything's perfect. And then all the other guys they've got. I mean, Vern Lundquist is one of the most, if it's possible to be underrated, and I do think he's really appreciated as his career has gone along, but Vern Lundquist is just a magnificent broadcaster. college football, basketball. He has just the right tone on the Masters. You know, they don't need much. They've got it covered.
Did you tape your games like when you were growing up? Did you have play-by-plays that you would just record? You know, not for anything with air.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I recorded to critique myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially when I first started at NBC. I'd record it and look for little things.
No, I mean when you were growing up as a kid.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have any of those?
One of the earliest one that I have is from WAER in Syracuse when I was a freshman in 1970, and to say that my voice was reed thin would be kind. And in fact, when I got the job for the Spirits of St. Louis a few years after that, my audition tape was a game between Syracuse and Rutgers that I had done as a sophomore. And it wasn't all that good, but I found about a dozen plays that sounded good, and I just alternated them. If they weren't really sequential, I just took any reference to the score out. So I had Syracuse with the ball, Rutgers with the ball, so it sounded like it was continuous. And then I had someone re-record it with the bass up and the treble down, so I would sound more authoritative. And I send it to KMOX. I'm thinking, this is just ridiculous, no chance. And Jack Buck and these guys listen to the tape, and they go, bring the kid in for an audition. Oh, my gosh. I wound up getting the job. But I do have a tape, a cassette somewhere at the bottom of a box of me doing a sportscast when I was 18 years old with traces of a New York accent and rapid fire sort of delivery. Yeah.
Could you find that, and could I play it on the air?
If I find it, you can play it.
All right.
How much damage can you do to me now, Dan?
Well, and people want to know, I had a bandage on my hand. This had nothing to do with the outcome of the sports semis last night.
I can testify to that.
Okay, I did not take a swing at anybody. I did not slam my hand down on the sports semi. It had nothing to do with that.
No.
Okay, I just make sure that I've made that clear.
I will notarize a statement to that effect.
All right. So this is what I'm offering up. Now you can't offer it up because it might be taken in a different context. I think that the award for most outstanding studio host should be called the Bob Costas Award.
And then I could just stop submitting.
Yes, then you don't have to. You don't even have to go.
Yeah, you know, if you want to suggest that, I'm good with it.
Are you fine with? There you go. There you go. Bob Costas says, "The hell with the sports Emmys. He's done with it."
You know, that way I'm mentioned in perpetuity.
Yes.
And yet I can just forget about it.
Now, I do want to beat you.
I know you do.
I do want to win, but I'm not jealous or envious. Because I appreciate what you do. But I want to. It's like facing Jordan. I'm Ewing or whoever. I want to beat you, and that I would want you in the category when I did win. But if that's the case, you won 25 of these. So I think if we just call it the most outstanding sports personality studio host, the Bob Costas Award.
Not all of them in that category, though. Most of them, but not all of them.
Okay, Bob. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Stop nitpicking.
You know what? I think that there has to be this is the deal we make.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
This is the deal we make.
Okay.
You're right. There has to be a passing of the baton.
Yeah.
So if and when you win, and believe me, I will jump to my feet and applaud wildly, okay? If and when you win, that marks the official passing of the baton. And then I just step away.
When you lose the sports Emmy, when you don't win the sports Emmy, that's when you back away and say, I'm done.
You led me down a primrose path. So I don't know how Sam Flood and Mark Lazarus are going to feel about that. But, as long as you're there, then, hey, if you win, then it's still an NBC Emmy.
But
it has to be you, Dan. It has to be you.
But here's the thing, Bob.
Yeah.
Your name is on a trophy that could go to CBS or ESPN. So we win because somebody's taking home the Bob Costas Award.
But the Academy would have to agree to your suggestion. I think it's brilliant, by the way. But
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, there's always next year.
Yeah.
You know what? And people keep saying, my son even said it when he said, did you win? I go, no. And he goes, death taxes cost us in an Olympic year. And I said, yeah, pretty much. That was it. So we got the Olympics coming up in Russia.
Yeah.
It's another Olympics.
Another Olympics. You will do an outstanding job.
Yeah, but,
we will be by the Black Sea.
I know. I do look forward to it. I think it'll be – London was a great It was, the bucket list, being able to host a Super Bowl, hand out the trophy, do the Olympics. Those are things that I never would have gotten to do at the mothership. And to
Right.
be able to do London and the Olympics, that was where you kind of felt like I've graduated to, something a little bit special. So
Yeah, and you and Al together were terrific.
yeah, and I was glad to see Al win last night. Collinsworth. And Collinsworth is I'm watching the moment where he won the sports Emmy. I'm
I'm
watching
sitting next to him and his wife Holly.
Well, no, I'm watching the game with Sam Flood, my producer.
Oh, right.
And I said, and Collinsworth said, you know what? They're going to take advantage of this tackle. He's injured. They're going to sack. That'll be the last play of the game. And it's the Saints game with the Chargers. And that's what happened. I turned to Sam Flood. I said, Collinsworth just won the sports Emmy.
Yeah, those moments are the ones that stand out. And if you can put them on a submission tape, they tend to get the voters' attention. An informed kind of summary of what happens or a second guess is one thing, but when an analyst hits the mark with a first guess, as Collinsworth so often does, as McCarver has done many, many times on baseball, that's really key.
If you were going to give advice, go into play-by-play or to be a studio host, these kids now, which path is a little bit, and I guess easier, less competition to get into, a chance to move up the ladder quicker?
Well, I think there's probably more positions that could roughly be called hosting or reporting than there are play-by-play. Only one guy calls a given game. If a game's on ESPN, you have lots of guys who could be, in some sense, involved. You have you and me both in hosting roles and potentially other people contributing, but only Al is calling the game. So in that sense, there are fewer play-by-play positions. And some people are just better suited to one role than another. When I started out, I really wanted to be a play-by-play man, and still my favorite thing to do is baseball play-by-play. But then just one thing led to another. Had Brian Gumbel not gone to the Today Show, then I probably would have just stayed doing football, baseball, and then we had some basketball play-by-play at NBC. I never would have gotten a chance to host all the various things, but Brian went to the Today Show, and the spot was there, and kind of one thing led to another.
Well, good to see you and your wife last night. Congrats again, and see you in a couple of weeks or a week or so. I think we're having dinner in New York City, aren't we?
On Monday, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not just you and me. It's everybody. I didn't want to make it sound like it was this intimate dinner for two.
Yeah, that could be coming, but only when the baton is passed.
When I win.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay. See you then.
All right, it's Bob Costas. I do want to win. I want to beat Bob. I do. But I do think we should just call it the Bob Costas Award. Just think of the joy he would spread throughout the world.